Hello and welcome to the Life presented by DC Lottery. Lots of people win. I'm Kelsey, Nicole Nelson. He's Fred Smoot. Fred, how was Thanksgiving? It feels good to be back.
It's so good. Thanksgiving was great. Now the big question is, how many days are you eligible to eat leftovers? All right. I think you legitimately have one work week. That's 5 days. You have 5 days to eat these leftovers.
That's fair. I feel like that's fair.
Speaking of cooking, we have a rookie on the team, Fred, that you know pretty well, that also likes cooking, in James Smith-Williams. And I had a chance to talk with him about his cooking and hobbies off the field. Let's check out his interview.
Let's see what he got.
James, thank you so much for joining me here on The Life. First, to kick things off, how are you feeling? How are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing great. You know, it's always a blessing to be able to go out and do what you love every day.
Yes, a blessing, exactly, to do what you love every day. So yeah, and you get to play football every day, which is a pretty cool job. And I know COVID has limited things, James, but we're super just interested to know, what have you been doing to kind of keep busy and keep active at your house outside of COVID-19, you know, to keep being James and keep doing the things that you love?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I've fallen in love with cooking. So like, that's all I really do is like, I get home, you know, unwind, watch some film and cook. That's really my thing.
So you made me hungry already, and I'm a Southern girl, James. So you got to tell me, what are you cooking? What's on the stove?
Oh yeah. So I actually use a smoker. That's like my thing. So I like smoked pulled pork, steaks, brisket, all that stuff. I just use my electric smoker out here on the deck.
Wow, where did you learn to cook from, James?
I figured it out. I just got bored one day, you know, Traeger sent me a grill and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna see what all this stuff's about. So it's gone great.
Figuring out stuff is something that you do pretty well. You've had several internships with IBM, so it goes to show that's just the person that you are. Tell us about these internships with IBM. How did you get interested?
Yeah, so I'm a supply chain major. They came to my class and I pulled them aside after class and I was like, hey, like I would love an opportunity to come there and work. And they got back with me and I worked there for 2 summers. You know, the first summer I did robotics process automation. It sounds really complicated, but basically all it means is, you know, you're teaching computers how to do kind of simple, mundane tasks that humans do every day, so you free up their time. And then my second time around, I did a lot more stuff like marketing in the PR space.
And what do you think that says to just the kids out there, James, to see that, you know, life after football, that's a good question for many, but it seems like you kind of have it figured out, right? Because you'll be working with IBM. What do you think it says to the young adults out there who want to play football, but we all know football has an endpoint? What do you hope your story shares with them?
Yeah, I mean, I think it really just speaks to the fact that, you know, no matter what your plan is, you always gonna have backup plans, right? I could play 10 more years, 1 more day, but, you know, regardless, I know I'll be all right. And that's really important to make sure you have those bases covered.
And you talk about who you are off the field, which you're a magnificent person off the field. You know, October was National Violence Domestic Awareness Month, and I think it's a cause that's very near and dear to your heart. It's especially great to see you, especially as a football player, talking out about this. I mean, it's something exciting. You became the first NFL ambassador for Set the Expectation. I mean, that's amazing. It's a nonprofit organization that's designed to fight sexual violence. So you have to tell us, how did you get started in that? Because I think it's magnificent that you're doing this.
So Brenda actually came to NC State probably my sophomore year of college, and she told her story. If you haven't heard it, it's a story that everyone needs to listen to. And at the end, she issues a challenge, which is like, okay, like if you're the man that you say you are, like what are you doing to make, you know, your community, your environment a better place for those around you? And that really stuck with me. And it kind of snowballed from there. You know, we had a donation drive for a local domestic violence shelter. Brenda came back in an interpersonal violence awareness game. And it's just, as we kept going, things kind of kept snowballing on top of each other, and we kept trying to make, you know, this big impact in the world. So it's been really awesome, that journey with her.
So exciting that you're doing that. And as an ambassador, what's your message been to those out there when you're doing these different events or talking to different people about sexual and domestic violence?
Yeah, I think, especially where I come from, my background as an athlete and not someone who's really trained in the space, is like, okay, like, obviously I don't have all the answers, and I acknowledge that right away, that I don't know everything. I don't know every statistic, I don't know. But I do know that, you know, it is on us as men and just get people in the community that if you see something, to speak about it. If you see something, you know, how are you helping to end this, you know, kind of plague that we have in our society right now?
Wow, so James Smith-Williams might be one of my favorite players on the team. He likes to cook. I think we're seeing a trend of guys that like to cook, Fred, but I know you're gonna have a problem with this. He's using that electric smoker, Fred. I already know you're cringing.
And he should be ashamed of himself, being from down south, using electric or gas. You can't do that. And then with a soulful name like James Smith-Williams, you know he's from below the Mason-Dixon. He knows better.
He has to just do it quickly.
I understand that. We're living in a microwave society. I totally understand.
And nothing wrong with that. Look, however you eat is how you eat. But I would be curious to see how that food tastes. And also, I think he's just fascinating, Fred, an interest in robotics. How many times do you get football players that are just interested, I think, in the STEM field? I think it's exciting. And then doing marketing at IBM. Like, I mean, who is this guy?
It doesn't shock me. It shocks other people because y'all not used to being in the locker room. I'm sorry. We don't just play football. We got a lot of other stuff we love. Computers is always going to be one of them because it's the next generation. And when we do start to do interns early. I went to Stanford for 2 years back to back to do schooling. All right, so at the end of the day, people don't understand or get to know this about us because they only see us suited up playing football.
James, just keep up the good work. I mean, there's so many things that we can rave about, but truly just an interesting individual on and off the football field. And talking about interesting individuals, Fred, we got some boxing back in our lives. We're all excited about because we've missed boxing, right? COVID-19 has taken so much away from us. This is kind of our first big fight. The fight drew in over 1 million viewers. And of course, the big fight of the night was none other than Mike Tyson and Roy Jones Jr. Fred, I already know you are itching to get into this one, right? But before we get there, you know we got to talk about the fight before the fight. Our guy, Nate Robinson, former NBA player, and Jake Paul, the YouTube star. You know, I'm going to let you go first, Fred, because I think we need to get the meanness out the room, and I will come try to speak it up, and I will try to be the nice one, because it's hard, but I'm going to find a fight for you, Nate.
Hey, listen to me. I literally laughed the other day for like 6 hours straight. My kids came upstairs like, Daddy, you okay? They thought I was crying, and I was crying, because I just could not stop laughing at the memes. I'm sorry. Nate Robinson, and then he got on here. This is when I knew he was finna lose. When they did the, you know, when you do the talking right before the fight, I can always tell who really in their groove. And Paul was like, yeah, your kids ain't gonna be able to even recognize you. They won't respect you afterwards. And then they got up there calmly and said, you know what? I'm gonna do it for the culture and I'm gonna do it for the kids. I knew then he was gonna get whooped. And not only did he get whooped, he set us back so many years. Listen to me. Don't do it for the culture no more, Nate. The culture don't need you.
You got knocked the out.
But I think what's more so taking over the fight is the commentary that we have from Uncle Snoop, Fred.
Hey, first of all, I start with the fight. The fight was just full of nostalgia. All right, that's all it was. All right, we just watched two old men get in there with beer guts and fight each other.
Two of my uncles fighting at the barbecue. Get your uncle out of there. Get him out. You go meet me in the backyard. I'm tired of this.
With Snoop calling that fight. Ooh, and he started singing that old spiritual. Listen to me.
Lead me on. Let me stand. Wow.
And if we're talking about Snoop, I do want to ask you, because a lot of people do like Snoop and are fans of him. What would you like to see Snoop commentate next? Let's do a sporting event.
I want to bring him to football because football is what Snoop does. And most people don't understand Snoop is from Mississippi. He was raised in California. All right, so Snoop is born into a football culture. He loves Pittsburgh. He's been an NFL advocate for 1,000 years. I would want to see Snoop do an NFL game. And I would want to see him do his favorite team, which we all know is the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah.
Oh, and I know who got to play the Steelers soon. How about a Washington Steelers? Fred Smoot, Snoop Dogg, commentating. Now that's action at its finest.
He's trying to get the ring.
Jesus,
Not my man, the problem child.
Before we go to break, I had a chance to ask James Smith-Williams about his motivations both on and off the football field. Here's what drives him, presented by Nissan.
Sweet James.
Yeah, I mean, I think I always point back to my mom. It was just me and her growing up, and she's just been such an inspiration to me, a role model to me, that I've always been proud of myself and being the best version of myself to make her proud.
Yeah. Give it all you got. Give it all you got.
We've been training for the Shipathon because the obstacles are bigger than ever this holiday. Shop and ship early. FedEx.
Give it all you got.
It's 2020. Let's make a splash. Play the DC Lottery's Roaring Cash.
The best team has a great sense of family. The best family has a great culture. And within that culture, there is great character. When you have all those elements come together, you've got a team.
DC has a home for the greatest hits of all time.
That would be Michael Jackson for me.
DC's greatest hits.
Madonna.
Billy Idol. Live here.
Cyndi Lauper.
Bon Jovi. 94.7. Blondie.
The Eagles.
The Drive.
It's all-wheel drive season, and your local Honda dealers are bringing the best deals of the year. It's clearance pricing during the Happy Honda Days sales event. Dash through the snow to a rugged and adventurous Honda. Check out the entire all-wheel drive truck and SUV lineup. CRV, HRV, Ridgeline, Pilot, and Passport, with features like Honda Sensing, Magic Folding Seats, and 3 different driving modes. Clearance pricing is here, but it won't last long. Don't miss clearance pricing at the Happy Honda Days sales event, now at your local Honda dealer.
Welcome back to The Live presented by DC Lottery. Lots of people win. Each and every week, our Women of Washington release a weekly podcast highlighting our great women leaders both in and out of the organization. Here's a sample of this week's podcast presented by Fresh Fine Wine.
During the Browns game with another female coach on the other side of the field as well as an official. Take us back through that. Did you take a second and just take it all in? Did you understand the significance of that game at the time?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely took a moment to take it in because it was a special moment, and it was fun to share the field with those ladies, and it was something that I'll definitely always remember. And I also took it in as just a step for women in sports in general. There's so many cool women that work in the NFL that you guys are. And, obviously we got the spotlight that day, but I wanted to make sure that everyone knew that, they kind of had a little piece in that as well.
All right, Fred, now it's time to figure out what's been trending this week. And to kick things off, our guy Beast Mode back in the news, Marshawn Lynch with his pregame routine. You might not be surprised by this at all, Fred. He said he had a unique superstition before games. He just wanted to take a quick shot before the games, right, Fred? Was that surprising to you at all? Your builds to Peyton Manning. Who a better person to tell that to?
Hey, first of all, no, I'm not shocked. Try playing in Green Bay and it's 10 degrees. You're going to need something to heat you up on the inside because on the outside, you're sweating and the heat is going. That don't shock me. I think people will be shocked to know how many athletes actually take a shot before a game.
To the break it down, yo!
Talking about why we love him, of course, also just celebrating the Thanksgiving holiday. A video also went viral of him handing out turkeys where he now lives in Hawaii. Like, what does he not do good? Always giving back to the community.
All right, well, let me remind y'all, he went to Cal. You're not getting into Cal Berkeley with regular grades. All right, so he's super intelligent. And he's super tied to the community. And he's one of those guys, he's similar to me. He'll report some of the stuff he do, but most of the stuff he does goes unreported. And that's the way he want it. That's the way I always like it, because I always ask myself, if somebody was helping me, would I want to be on TV? Do good because good is what you should be. Simple as that.
You're a gentleman and a scholar.
So switching over to action this weekend, Sarah Fuller, a name that we are all going to forever remember, making history, Fred, in football in the Power 5 conference, becoming the first woman to compete. I mean, watching that was so historic for me, Fred, and just seeing that in 2020, we're still having so many firsts and hopefully not last. Yeah. It was exciting. And what the precedent that she set, I think, is so special. She was just named SEC Player of the Week, doing incredible things, and I'm already excited to see her kick off again against Georgia this coming weekend. But just wow, what did it mean to you, Fred, as a former football player, to see Sarah Fuller in that football uniform taking action on the football field?
It's long past due. Like, I have daughters. Females can do anything a male can do. I think she just opened the door for a lot of ladies, and me myself, I'm ready to see a lady play what I call a real position in football, not just a kicker.
Talking about that, on our very own Washington team, we had Jennifer King doing incredible things as an assistant coach. Like, I think it's incredible. And I love that, Ron Rivera obviously believed in her enough. And I know Jennifer King is just setting an enormous example. Another person who used to play football as well. So I think it's just good times all around for women in football, Fred. So get used to seeing us.
Hey, if you got haters, you're doing your job. Remember that.
Hey, I'm sorry I didn't see you there. I was too busy blocking out the haters.
So if you haven't heard the news news yet, Fred. There's a big monolith mystery going across the United States. We're all really trying to figure it out, really international. Everyone's got into it. And our guy, Talon Tsai, who is an influencer out in Utah where the monolith first appeared, he explained what he saw. So let's check it out, Fred, and see if we can solve this mystery.
All right, let's do this.
Thanks, Kelsey, and thanks, Fred. For those of you who don't know me out there, my name is Talon Tsai, and I make YouTube videos for a living. I'm currently on a mission to travel to all 50 states in America in my converted Sprinter van, which you see me sitting in right here. I was actually on my way down to Moab to ride some mountain bikes for the weekend when I heard the news about the monolith, and I really wasn't sure what to expect. The next morning, I woke up and hit the road about an hour-and-a-half drive south of Moab, and I ended up on top of a cliff at my first point. I did about a 4-mile hike out and back searching for this monolith, and then I found out that I needed to go all the way down and around. So the entire adventure turned into a very long process, but I did of course end up finding it in the end. So I was able to walk right up to the thing. It was about 10 to 12 feet tall, and in a lot of pictures it looks like it is a solid chunk of metal sort of embedded into the rock there. But of course it ended up being just some pieces of stainless steel pop riveted together, so aliens were sort of off of the list at that point. It was definitely an adventure to get to, but I don't think it was really worth going there in the end. The adventure was definitely way more fun than actually seeing the monolith in person. Now, 2 days after I visited the monolith, I posted my video on it, and then that very night, the monolith just happened to disappear. After doing some more research, it looked like some people went in there and knocked it down and took it out themselves. It was not done by anyone related to the Bureau of Land Management. And after all is said and done, I can definitely understand why someone went in there and took it upon themselves to remove it. It was absolutely going to cause a lot of destruction to that beautiful landscape out there in the middle of those Red Rock Canyons. I like to live by the whole if you pack it in, pack it out mentality, and even when I'm camping in dispersed locations, I actually like to pick up other trash that I may find present on those sites. So I don't think there was any harm in the monolith being out there, but leaving it out there where people know how to find it now, that is definitely where the destruction comes into play. In a perfect world, if everyone just respected their surroundings, then I think it would be okay to leave there, but it's gone now, and it is what it is. There are a few imitators out there now in Romania, one in California, and I'm just kind of bummed that it's not aliens, because that would be pretty cool, right?
You have to think, am I gonna be dead arrogant as a person to say, you know what, it's only one rock out of a billion planets that has life on it? Never would I do that. But this is human driven. Whoever driving this pickup truck from country to country with this monolith, you should be ashamed of yourself. You're playing jokes on me.
How rude. Speaking of not being alone, I'm not going to leave you alone on this one. We got to go to Smoot this time.
Oh, yes.
For our now Monday game against the Pittsburgh Steelers, Fred. So come on, give us hope, because we've been on a winning streak. We want to continue it. We've got 2 in a row. Will this be 3 in a row? And if so, what's the final score, Fred?
See, this is what I'm going to put into my equation. The fact that the Steelers game with the Ravens been postponed so many times. The fact that some of them have COVID, and then they're going to have an even shorter week to get ready for us, to get their body ready. If Pittsburgh is going to lose a game this year, this is that game. Go to Vegas, put the house down, put the car down, call grandmama and them. Whatever you got to do, I'm telling you, I have a feeling that the Washington football team will beat the Pittsburgh Steelers, because they will come out flat. They will be low energy in the first half. If we can stack points in the first half, I predict 31-20. The Washington team beats Pittsburgh. Yes, I said it.
31-20, put the house down, Fred. This is the most confident I think you've been on this show. So that's feeling pretty good. Like, I am confident that we will also get the win. I think that first half is going to be very crucial and important. Second half, I'm not worried about. I think second half we proved. But that first half, if we can just make sure we at least keep the game close, I'll be excited. But Pittsburgh's a hard team. I'm going to put a closer score. I'm going to do 23-20.
And you've not been right not one time. You've not been right not one time.
Don't even just try to put it on me, all right? I'm probably than you.
All I'm saying is I might have to come to the studio and burn some sage in there to get all that dark energy out of it.
Out! Out, you demon! You demon can help you. Yeah.
Fred, this has been a great edition of The Life. I want to thank everyone for joining us on this edition, of course, of The Life presented by DC Lottery. I'm Kelsey Nicole Nelson. He's Fred Smoot. Thanks so much for watching.
Pray for Nate. Pray for Nate.
DC has a home for the greatest hits of all time.
That would be Michael Jackson for me.
DC's greatest hits.
Madonna.
Billy Idol.
Live here.
Cyndi Lauper.
Bon Jovi.
94.7.
Blondie. The Eagles.
The Drive.
At Honda,
we take the holidays seriously. With serious style and serious capability. So while others may be decking the halls, you could be dashing through the snow with the best value of the season. Now's the best time to get into a new Honda. KBB.com's best value brand for 2020. Visit Happy Honda Days at your local Honda dealer or shop online to get a great offer on the CR-V. It's 2020. Let's make a splash. Play the DC Lottery's Roaring Cash.
The best team has a great sense of family. The best family has a great culture. And within that culture, there is great character. When you have all those elements come together, you've got a team.
DC has a home for the greatest hits of all time.
That would be Michael Jackson for me.
DC's greatest hits.
Madonna.
Billy Idol. Live here.
Cyndi Lauper.
Bon Jovi.
94.7.
Blondie. The Eagles.
The Drive.
It's touchdown time again, and maybe time for you to score too with the Washington Touchdown Scratcher from the DC Lottery. Don't miss your special chance to win the top prize of $50,000 instantly. There's over $300,000 in total cash prizes remaining. Get your Washington Touchdown Scratcher today, only from the DC Lottery. Lots of people win.